Hello and welcome to part 2 of my little texture tutorial series. So in the last one we left off, I was having some issues here with getting this one to bake properly. And the issue ended up being that this piece here was sharing the vertices with the kind of square tubing piece there. So I just separated the two and then now it bakes properly. Also, I want to cover two. If you do see any of these kind of funny colored spots, usually if you go and, look at that piece on your model, we select that one, it'll be, let's go wireframe. Of course, it was a bad one to pick. Let's try a different one, because I know this one. So here, if we go to this one, oh, never mind, that one didn't do it. Okay, anyway, wherever there's kind of, usually dark colors like this, it's likely something overlapping. So that one's probably the airbag piece. I don't know what exactly piece that is, but if you have those dark colors, usually they're overlapping. You can go through and check them if you think they look weird or whatever to find what's actually causing them. Sometimes, yeah, it's just a matter of how much time you want to spend and look at it. Definitely, there's cases where you will get it into Giant Setter and go, "Oh, that's should have spent more time on my textures in Blender." So yeah, that's that step done. So we will go here. We're going to save that. Yeah, that'll work. So then we are going to take this. We will go here. We'll export it to. I think normally I used FBX for this. We do want to make sure we do selected objects only. We'll export that. And then we will fire up Substance Painter here. I have a very old version of Substance Painter I bought way back before Adobe bought them out. But it still works. For me, so the new ones, they might be a little different, but this is what I do. We need to be in the pop folder. And then we're also going to need that normal texture we made. Let's just take a quick look. It looks fine in here. So in here, we don't, in the texture set settings, we don't need all those. For a normal map, we have an existing one, so we will select that. Then we're going to go to bake mesh map, so we don't need to bake a normal because we already have that. We'll go 2048. So we'll bake all these. They just tend to make things look a little better when you're using the different smart generators and stuff like that. And this is also where we're getting our AO from for our V mask. Let's take a look here. Make sure everything looks kind of normal in some of these. Yeah. So yeah, everything looks pretty good there. So then we're going to come here. We need our channels. So what I typically do is I use the emissive and user 0. That's just what I've been using for a long time. If you want, you can make your own. I have mine set up here. So the green one is pulling the ambient occlusion. My red layer is pulling the user 0, which that is my wear. And then the blue layer is pulling the emissive, which is I use for my dirt. And if you use this naming convention here, when you export, it'll be pup vmask or whatever your material name was in Blender. It will use and automatically name your textures with that name. So that's very handy. So yeah, we will set. No, I already got those set. I usually start with a fill just to black everything out as the base because it's kind of a black-white scale you're working on here with these. So we're going to add a layer. We'll do a generator for dirt, as you can see there. Then I like to use the Smart Mask for ground dirt. Get rid of that part. Then I come in here, shut that off, and then you can kind of start to do this, and you can then kind of control it more. This is a fairly flat machine, so it's not super important. But yeah, we can then work with that, and then also work with these to create the different visualizations of the dirt and such. Black, we'll try something like that, then we'll come back over here. And this is kind of just mess with these different sliders to kind of get the result you want to see. Honestly, for this, I probably don't need the ground dirt one. But we'll just use it anyway for the sake of this. But yeah, you can use it to, you could do multiple layers to kind of have a dust layer on the top with one kind of thing. And it's kind of a play around with it and find out what you like kind of thing. There's no kind of specific one solution that works for everything. You can kind of have a general starting point, but okay, no, I'm not liking that. Go back here. So then from there, now we're ready to export. Oh, I guess the other one I should have shown is the normal. That's just RGB to the normal. This usually fixes up your normal texture to make it a little bit better format for Farming Simulator. Also got to set a folder here. So export our normal. And we'll come back in and export our VMask. So now we can pop back over to our Giants editor here. We'll add a light so we can see a little better. Then we're going to go here. We're going to go shared editing mode. Now for the diffuse map, the Giants kind of seems to do this and use the default diffuse for everything. That's kind of, I think, what they like to see being done there. And then we can grab our textures. We're not going to convert them right now because we might all of a sudden decide we want to make some changes, adjust things, and then we're going to use the underscore normal one. Is the one from Substance Painter. So now we can see we've got the full textures on here, which on this model isn't doing a whole lot. There's not much going on with it, but they are here. It's also kind of hard to see because everything's black. Yeah, let's try to find somewhere there that I can see what our normal has done. Maybe I need to go back here. Maybe I should have examined it more. Well, there should be. Oh, right. I know what it is. Okay, so we got our textures assigned. We got this step. Then we're going to open it in a text editor. So as you can see, yeah, we have all our custom maps assigned here. Or no, here, these ones. The texture normal gloss map. So what I do, rather than going through every single one and assigning them, I copy that. I'm just going to come in here and replace those. Save that. No, I forgot to make one material change. Oh well, that's a later problem. And we'll reload. And then we have all of our textures assigned. kind of the normals giving kind of things a softer edge on some of those 90s. Giving it kind of more of an appearance of the base game stuff. Then if we want to see our dirt, we can go here to the scripts, vehicle visual, and there's our dirt. So obviously that looks terrible because basically everything is fully dirty. What we're going to do now is we can come back to Substance Painter here. We're going to lighten that. Actually, no, maybe we'll leave that. We'll try coming here and tweaking things a bit. It is definitely a matter of just going around tweaking things. Playing with your different sliders to see what works and what doesn't. I might just try removing the mask and see. I might try without on them for this particular one. For something, more complicated, a tractor or truck, something like that, you definitely do want to use it. Micro details. Doesn't usually do a whole lot. Edges masking, that's another one to mess with. Let's see what that does. So we can do that. And we can pop back over to Giants Editor, reload the textures, and now we've got a little better. Might do it as a 2-layer for the dirt. I don't mind that. I kind of want a general dusting layer as well. So what we'll do is we'll clone that. This one will get rid of the grunge. We'll do that. We'll kind of do an inverted dealio. Well, maybe. Okay, let's do this. And that's kind of, just lots of playing around. Wrong one. There we go. Now we're getting there. Trying to get this tuned in. Let's see how that looks. Back over here. Again, we went too strong on the dirt. Let's back that off a bit. back that down a little bit more, but we're in a fairly nice result there now. And then we will, once I'm happy with this, then we will, there, that looks fairly nice. So we'll shut the dirt off. We'll turn the scratches on full. Now we'll do those. So for me, that's the user 0 layer. We can do layer, add a generator for user 0. And we will use the metal edge wear modifier here, or generator. And oh, I forgot one thing that I should have done, is we should have made a mask of all our rubber parts to make sure the hoses and the airbags don't have wear on them. But we will, usually what I tend to do is tend to turn it down quite low and do more of that. As my wear. Now what I can do, if I can find them here, is we can also use a mask. And then we can add a paint. And we can just manually paint out our things that we don't want to have wear as well. Is this? Yeah, okay. Pretty sure this was an airbag on my UV. So we can come through, black that out. Now the airbag has no wear. Where's the other airbag? Up here. You do want to definitely do this, especially your rubber, your plastics, things like that, that aren't going to have bare metal showing underneath. And so on. I won't do the hoses in the video. That will just bore you trying to find all those. But I'll just refer back to my UV map in Blender, select all the things I don't want, and then I'll just paint them up in here to match. But we can export this again. And then if we reload our textures again, we will see our wear here. Some of these, actually, no, that might be reasonable, because if you're towing this with a grain truck, dumping grain and other stuff's kind of running over this, you would get a fair bit of wear in the paint there. But generally, yeah, your rounded stuff is going to get more worn. That's going to be the curvature weight. So the other thing we can do is we can take the curvature weight away. Curvature weight away. Or lighten it some. Something like that. We might have to just paint out that jack handle a bit. Yeah, again, it's the same thing as before. You can kind of play around with the different sliders, see what you like, and that's basically it. So I know some people export the model from Substance Painter. There's no reason for that. There's, creating the separate model makes things a lot easier. You split the model in Blender, and then you can have one go to texturing and one head right to Giants Editor, and it's ready for you to set up the rest of the in-gaming on. So, let's see both of them here as well, the dirt and wear. But yeah, that's kind of the sum of the tutorials. For me, maybe not the best model to show it, but I was up to the texturing point on this model anyway, and figured I should record this because I know quite a few people asking me how I do my textures and things, so I figured I would record this so you guys could follow along and maybe learn something and improve how you do the textures on your mods too. So thanks for watching, and yeah, if you enjoyed this series, definitely like the videos, or if you have any questions, send me a message or leave a comment, and I will try to answer them the best I can. Yeah, thanks for watching.